Wow, so the Israeli government has decided to stop innocent people in Lebanon. Uh, Several journalists and several innocent people were killed in an attack by an Israeli shelling.
At least 8 people have been killed in cross-border shelling in southern Lebanon by the Israeli military. 3 journalists and an 80-year-old woman are among the dead from the targeted attack on the town of Ter Hafa. The Al Mayadeen channel in Beirut has confirmed that its correspondent, Farah Omar, is among the dead. It says a photographer and a local journalist were also killed in the attack. Well, let's speak to Zaina Khoda, who's in Nakora in southern Lebanon for us. And Zaina, can you just give us a bit more detail about the latest set of clashes along the border there? And are journalists being deliberately targeted?
Well, this is the third time journalists have been targeted in southern Lebanon since the conflict began 7 weeks ago. Mayadeen lost 3 journalists today on October the 13th. Reuters lost the journalist Taisam Abdallah. Their position came under fire. A few days ago, journalists who were along the border close to the village of Yarin, they too came under fire. So there appears to be a pattern, and journalists are becoming increasingly concerned that the Israeli army, wants to silence them. In fact, according to the Pan-Arab channel Mayadeen, the channel that the 3 journalists worked for, they are calling this a deliberate strike, and they are saying that the aim of this is to silence the media, quote, so that it will no longer cover Israel's brutality, not only in Lebanon, but in the West Bank and Gaza. But the channel went on to say that it will not be silenced. Lebanese officials have condemned what they're calling an aggression. They've told the Lebanese army to launch an investigation. Reporters Without Borders investigated the attack on October the 13th, and it found that the journalists were not collateral damage in the shooting and that they were deliberately targeted. So it's become
Well, deliberately targeted, no surprise. I mean, how does a fascist government keep other people from talking about their war crimes? By killing the people killing the journalists that are talking about their war crimes. Uh, this is something the Israeli government has done time and time again, and it is wild how it's not considered a war crime when the Israeli government does it.
becoming very difficult for journalists to operate along the border. I can tell you, even wearing our gear with our camera, it's just not enough to keep you safe. And there are many roads, empty villages. You drive through them. On the back of your mind, you think that you're going to be targeted by an Israeli drone. So journalists really are not protected.
OK, thank you so much, Zaina. There's Zaina Khoda for us in southern Lebanon. Daoud Kutab is a columnist at Al Monitor and a former board member of the International Press Institute. He says there is a concerted effort by Israel to target journalists and that global media networks need to reaffirm that journalism is not a crime.
Lebanon is not the only.
Well, it is a crime when you're speaking out against a fascist government looking to commit a genocide, and then, yeah, you're going to go or get off.
Place we saw Shireen Abu Akleh, American Palestinian, was killed without anybody being held accountable. We've had 50 journalists in Gaza and media workers killed, 60 media outlets that were destroyed in Gaza. No one is holding Israel accountable, and unfortunately, the people that are victims are the ones who are supposed to be telling us what's happening. Israel thinks that by killing journalists, they can keep information away. In today's modern age, anybody with a phone can tell us what's happening. But they're taking away the professional journalists whose job it is to tell us what is happening on the battlefield. And it's really it's a crime, and it's really a shame that a country that claims to be some kind of a democracy is killing journalists, killing civilians, and getting away with it. International Press Institute, which I'm a member of, and I was a member of the board, is committed to protect journalists, the Reporters Without Borders, all issue statements. But Israel doesn't seem to care. It's really amazing that our fellow journalists in major media outlets are also not giving enough attention to what is happening to members of their own media outlet and their own colleagues in the profession. So we need the institutes to speak, but we also need the major journalists from major outlets, CNN, ABC, CBS, all of them should follow the suit of these institutes and say, don't touch journalists. Journalism is not a crime. The crime is killing the journalists. And Israel is committing this war crime and must be told to stop.